Yo ho, this is Jerry Whiting, LeBlanc CNE, Cannabis Négociant Éleveur. We are growers and brokers of medical cannabis and vintage heirloom strains here in Seattle. We're at Hempfest 2014, Myrtle Edwards Park. We're going to be talking to some folks who are movers and shakers in the industry and showing you some products that you may not have encountered before. Mike Ritter from Green Lion Farms. Mike, what are you guys telling the people here at Hempfest this year?
Well, we're just kind of pushing our message of clean, sustainable products for a new future. We're a biotech company. We're CO2 processors. We have an entire hempcrete division where we do hemp animal bedding. There's also hemp concrete, building bricks, different things like that. So we're just kind of trying to change the future one brick at a time.
Oh yeah, and I want to say, I know the folks at Green Lion Farms. They've got a campus going on down there in Sodo, and these guys I really respect. They're doing both recreational and medical, but they're doing it at a really high level. But what about the people who are well entrenched in the MMJ world, who are looking with suspicion at the legal 502 stores? Not everybody's happy about 502 the way it's been written or implemented. And the rollout is messy.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's where there's a lot of differences in how we can actually talk to the consumer, the patient, and they're even labeled different. There's a patient in one store, there's a consumer in the other store, but there's nothing different about the plant. So why are we having this debate when the plant is still the same and the person is still the same, but it's just the politics who wanted to label it different. So there's a divisor that's happening, and it's not the people, it's the politics, and it's just the same plant.
Last year, I encountered a product that I argued was not going to work. It was a CBDA-based product. It was not decarb. There was a story behind it. Someone put it in my hand. I went home. My wife has 2 replacement knees. This was one of the best cannabis-based medicines I ran across in the last year. Here we are at Hempfest again, and what do you know? Here is his friend. Tell me the story.
The story is my business partner developed this for his daughter's horse. And there's no placebo with the mammal.
No.
So the mammal's not going to lie to you. And he discovered that it was working not only in the horses, but when the ladies were putting it on their horses, their arthritic
It's the right thing to do.
And then he came to me and he says, Eddie, I developed this for my horse. I said, my grandmother was making this in the 1960s in Richmond, California. This is nothing new to the Latino community.
True.
And so it's just a resurgence of a sequestered science that we're all discovering again. It's phenomenal with its efficacy. And thank you, Jerry, for the time.
Oh no, thank you for the product. And so part of the story touches your family as well.
Oh, well, that's right. I gave some to my mother. Just a little bit of background. My mom, who's probably the sweetest lady anyone has ever met in her life, she is also one of the most devout fundamentalist Christians that you will ever find. She lives in the very buckle of the Bible Belt in this place in East Texas. My father is a fundamentalist preacher.
You're a PK.
A preacher's kid, that's right, yeah. And my mom, she is completely opposed to anything intoxication. She has never in her life, I've never even once known her to take even so much as a sip of wine, and she's not at all interested in doing any illegal drugs at all.
Except...
Well, I got her to try a little bit of the external spray for her arthritis, and now she is an absolute convert. She's asking me for it all the time. She loves the fact that it doesn't get her intoxicated at all. All it does is just take care of her pain and give her relief.
And how old is Mom?
She was born in '54, so she's gonna be 60.
And I know how that feels. I'm here with my pal and hero, Sean Dene of Washington Bud. So this is a woman who is so important to the community, both as a member of the producing end, but also as a lobbyist and, dare I say, a den mother, being active in WOW, Women of Weed. Sean, how's Hempfest going for you this year?
Well, it's pretty historic this year, Jerry, because the city council and everything with all these festivals, they really put a lot of responsibility on Hempfest this year to last minute throw together a 21 and over adult smoking area, and so they want to, replicate this at other festivals in
like
Seattle, like
garden.
Bumbershoot and so on and so forth. You know, except we cannot sell anything cannabis here. With intoxicating here. So, so I just have cups and T-shirts and frisbees and fun stuff like that that people can take home on the airplane. But anyway, beside the point. What I'd really like your audience to know is that in the state of Washington 20 years ago, we had twice as many women in the legislature down in Olympia making decisions. And right now we have in the education and in the healthcare issues, we have an all-male Caucasian committee that's doing all of that work.
And you would think in Washington State in 2014 we'd see a little more of the D word, that diversity in action.
You would think so, and so it's
what are the
really
ramifications
important
of having an all-male, all-white?
Well, we've been living that way for the last how many hundreds of years?
I know.
I mean, I'm preaching to the choir here. So anyway, but my talk up on stage this weekend is ladies take the lead.
Right.
Ladies take the lead. Any progressive women that people know, encourage them, support them to become active. If it's even in committees or
out in front,
and come out and tell your story. Tell your marijuana story. Learn how to say marijuana without whispering it.
Oh, and nothing to laugh or giggle about. It's serious business.
Yeah, I mean, when I came out of the closet to my square friends, it was amazing the magic that happened, Jerry, because people have their own cannabis stories. They then feel free to be able to tell what they know or ask the questions that they're curious about, and you get into really great conversations. So I invite everybody to come out of the closet first and support the progressive women that you know to get involved politically. I mean, we can do this.
Now, speaking of women involved in the progressive cannabis community in Washington, there's an organization I've heard about called WOW.
Women of Weed, and so, that's us getting together and partying and just kind of chilling together.
But it's also a great solidarity among people who might feel that they're alone or that their voices aren't given equal representation.
Community is great.
It is.
Community is great with the women in this community, and WOW has just done so much, the Women of Weed organization, to bring us together and give us a platform. And so where we're jumping from that platform now and forming the MJBA Marijuana Business Association Women's Alliance. So with the Women's Alliance, we'll be able to do things like have a summit downtown at the Red Lion Inn, and be able to bring in parents who have questions about their sick children, bring in elderly people who have questions, they're tired of being hooked on the pharmaceuticals, and put them in front of real live doctors that can answer their questions.
We're a price comparison website for marijuana dispensaries, just like you would compare prices for hotels, airlines, anything else. It's a consumer-centric model, so what you do is the consumer specifies how much they're going to spend, how far they're willing to go, and all the dispensaries within that radius put forth their best offers in terms of grams. So that we're forcing the dispensaries to compete to bring the price down for the consumer.
Disintermediation.
Yes, exactly.
Whoa! So you're like the online traveler, you're like the Priceline of pot.
Yes, exactly. That's what we've been told by a couple different organizations.
So I'm not the first one to say that?
You're not, no.
Oh, man! All right. So what lies ahead for you guys?
Well, right now we're working on our menu pages so the dispensaries can offer their full selections, not just strains, edibles, concentrates. And what this does is eventually you'll be able to select a specific strain and then get all the dispensaries in the area to compete on price for that specific strain.
So those of you looking for Harlequin or Sour Tsunami No. 3 or some other CBD strain won't be knocking on doors, finding empty glass jars on the shelves. You can sit at home and shop and save money at the same time.
That's exactly right. And we also have deliveries in our system too, so if you don't even want to go out of your house, we'll have deliveries competing on price as well.
So many of us in the Evergreen State think that once we passed I-502, the battle was over. And all of the focus in the media is about marijuana, either medical or recreational. But there's a third leg to the stool. Joy.
Yes.
Please educate us about hemp and the state of hemp in Washington State.
Yeah, indeed. It's interesting. Most folks are surprised to discover that we do not yet have a lawful method by which we can plant an industrial hemp seed in the state of Washington.
And why is that important?
Well, it's important because we can make 25,000 products out of industrial hemp, from building materials to bioplastics, textiles, paper, seed oil, seed nutrition products. And our farmers could really benefit from being able to grow this crop, which uses half the water of their normal crops, and also no pesticides and fertilizers. So our Washington farmers need to be able to get into a booming industry. car parts are being made. I have hemp bioplastic briefcase. The UK, which has not experienced this prohibition, has gone far, far ahead. We're into now industrial hemp nanotechnology, 3D printing graphing.
Yes.
It's amazing.
But I thought on the national level, we had a Farm Bill amendment that opened the door to industrial hemp.
Indeed, thank you. It opened the door to industrial hemp research, and that's great. We'll take research. They're creating a path forward for us. In the Farm Bill, there was an amendment, Section 7606, called the Legitimacy of Industrial Hemp Research. It's a very simple amendment, 1.5 pages, double-spaced. Notwithstanding the Controlled Substances Act, in states where you have hemp legislation, those departments of agriculture are now free to promulgate rules and issue test permits so that there can be hemp research with test pilots. So we say, the Hemp Industries Association, the ACLU, and Vote Hemp, we also, by the way, several state legislators, we say, wait a second, you legalized industrial hemp when you legalized marijuana by way of a de facto definition.
Right.
And the quick, any time for a botany lesson, a little
one or
no? Great. Quick little botany lesson is that cannabis is the genus, sativa is the species, L that we often see next to a cannabis sativa L, of course, that's just Carl Linnaeus, as you know, the Swiss botanist who created taxonomy. So we can all drop the L. But within this plant species, cannabis sativa, we have these two separate cultivars. Got to use the hands. We have the drug cultivar known as marijuana, a high resin, mostly horticultural crop that's grown about 4 feet apart for its medicine-filled bushy leaves and buds. Then we have the oil seed and fiber cultivar known as industrial hemp. It's a low resin agricultural crop grown about 4 inches apart for its stalk and stem.
Long fibers.
Long fibers. Yes, absolutely. And so in any event, the feds and our state has defined marijuana now on the books as any part of the cannabis sativa plant, which we've just said is a species, that contains greater than 0.3% THC or above.
Magic level.
The magic level that magically would turn it into a plant, whether it was that plant or not. We won't confuse the masses. But in this Farm Bill that was signed into law, amazing thing happened. For the first time in U.S. history, the feds defined industrial hemp and distinguished it from marijuana for the first time. Finally. And what do you think they defined it as? Any part of the cannabis sativa plant that contains less than 0.3% THC. So by a de facto definition, if we have a state definition for marijuana, that then de facto defined industrial hemp because they're talking about this species. So our opinion, our formal legal opinion that we've obtained is that Section 7606 affects Washington, which means our Department of Agriculture is now free to promulgate rules for research and issue these permits for test plots. Here's the thing. Our Attorney General for the state of Washington disagrees with that legal opinion. He has his own opinion. Of course, it's just an opinion, as respectfully as I love our Attorney General. And I work in law, so it's okay for us all to have different legal opinions. And his is different, and we, of course, feel it is inaccurate because he is advising the Department of Agriculture, no, we did not legalize industrial hemp. You are not able. Section 7606 doesn't affect Washington. We didn't legalize it in a de facto or otherwise manner. You will not issue those permits and promulgate rules. It doesn't affect Washington. So it's very counterintuitive that we have lawful methods here to plant the drug cultivar, and that's wonderful, but we do not have a lawful method yet to plant the non-drug crop industrial hemp.